Bonjour everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we are going to take a second look at the Object 268 version 4. Not necessarily talking about the statistics or anything like that, even if I missed one thing when I did my review. This tank has 690 alpha damage and not 640 like it's common among the tier 10 tank destroyers. But most importantly, I would like to talk about how this tank doesn't really fit World of Tank Blitz, but in a complex manner, not necessarily telling you, this tank is broken, because in my opinion, it's not broken, but it's not fitting, and here is why. After checking multiple reviews, I think that you guys find out that the main point about this tank is its armor profile. It's literally impossible to penetrate it, even if you're using gold shell. Maybe that Unholy using calibrated shell could be able to go through, but that's possibly the only tank that can make it. Of course, it requires from you some skill. You need to stay right in front of your opponents and do not try at all to angle the tank. But as soon as you do that, it seems like you're kind of a god that can't be penetrated. And on top of that, if we mention the crazy gun it has, plus the mobility that is not necessarily the best, but not the worst either, you get yourself something that a lot of people will complain about, saying it's broken. And here is why I don't think it's broken, but still not fitting. You see, the main problem for those new tanks, new premium tanks, and new tanks in general in this game is that World of Tank Blitz developers are basing themselves on the already existing World of Tank PC, because all the tanks we see, except some rare exceptions like it's going to be the case with the new heavy STB that is coming in the 9.0 update, is that they first find suitable stats for tanks into World of Tank PC, and they try to copy-paste them into World of Tank Blitz, of course adapting a little bit, because, for example, the tank destroyers in World of Tank PC have 740 or 750 alpha damage, whereas in Blitz they have 640, so a minus 100 difference. But there are some things that you can't nerf at all, and one of them are the maps. One of them is the map, because in World of Tank PC, the 268 version 4 is still a problem, but at least the maps are bigger. What does it mean? When you have a bigger map, you have the possibility of circling, because the only way to destroy an Object 268 version 4 is to be able to be in its back, because you're going to see at the end of the game we're going to face the IS-7 in a 1 versus 1, and there is literally no way that guy can penetrate us if he doesn't try to circle. And the thing is, when you have these kind of problems that are literally just the tank is not suitable, there is nothing you can do to adapt beside changing the whole either game mechanics or changing the maps you are evolving on. For example, I played that tank in the latest map being introduced by World of Tank Blitz, which is a much wider one. And on this one, when you're facing mediums, light tanks, etc., they have the possibility of circling you. Therefore, it's not necessarily broken. You just need to be patient and wait for the right time to attack. But whereas when we take a look at the older maps, such as this one, there is nothing the enemies can do, because here I'm still trying to play aggressively, and even by doing that, I will not get penetrated. This is not fitting at all. And I don't know if the developers actually understand that or not, because right now, when you take a look at it, it just seems off. It seems off the charts. Now, Wargaming tried to nerf it. They gave it a really bad gun dispersion, a long reload time, but all of those things are totally erased when you take a look at this armor. So yeah, you guessed it, the armor is totally OP. And I want to demonstrate that perfectly against the IS-7 right now. You see that, well, there is another thing to notice. As you have a really strong armor, you are less scared about opponents. For example, here, if I was playing with the regular Object 268, maybe that I wouldn't try to push forward like that, and maybe that I would have been penetrated a couple of times before into the game, meaning that right now I will not be able to push aggressively. But when you're playing with an Object 268 version 4, let's say that you're doubling your aggressivity because of how impossible it is for your opponents to penetrate. So it's cool in a way, because at least it allows this tank to be a more dynamic one. You can allow yourself to push forward, you can allow yourself to be in the front line, etc. But at the same time, it's kind of counterproductive because of that one special thing. You are a tank destroyer. You are not necessarily supposed to be the most armored tank in the game. And it also shows that this tank is quite strong because by doing 5k damage and not necessarily camping, even if I got the best camping medal ever, the sniper tanker, with 5k damage, I only got myself second class, which means that people are really doing well with this tank. Probably that the ace tanker is around 7,000 damage, which says you a lot about how powerful that tank is. And all that I mentioned previously is multiplied when you're playing on a map that is a big advantage to you. For example, flat maps. Just take a look at that. We are facing an IS-7, and if I was playing with any of the tanks in the game, I wouldn't just stop in the middle. But here, I know that it's impossible to penetrate me. Yes, I do have a cupola that can be a weak spot, but trust me, people are truly struggling getting it right in. Which means that in the first 40 seconds of the game, I did nearly 1.2k damage. And even the IS-7 just gave up trying to sneak some shots on me. And all of that makes that tank maybe a little bit too powerful, in my opinion, to be suited on these kind of maps. Hopefully, there is one thing you can do to avoid having a blast of Object 268 version 4 and destroying totally the tier 10 matchmaking, which is the same like they did with the Annihilator, not allowing people to get two of them in the same map. And if it's the case, in the same battle. And if it's the case, at least you give two Object 268 version 4 in both teams. Doing so, maybe that will allow people to have more chances, because at least you will have a 50-50 chance to either win or lose. But at the same time, is it truly what you want, having to finish off the game with only the 268 version 4 remaining and fighting each other till death? I do not think so. So yeah, of course, you still have the possibility of destroying that tank, but to do this, you must adapt. You are forced to shoot at the right angle, you are forced to attack it with two players, and based on the overall skill of World of Tanks Blitz players, it's not necessarily the best thing, boys. Usually, when you're playing in a 2 versus 1 situation and your teammate is not someone you're in vocal with or someone that platoons, usually it's just someone that has less than 50% win rate and kind of struggle understanding the mechanics or what to do in a stressful situation. And all of that makes the 268 a great tank, but maybe too great. So yeah, that's it. Now let's talk a little bit about the replay overall and how we are gonna struggle against the mediums, because here you are gonna see the big weak spot of this tank. When you have multiple targets and they are splitted across the map, you can get penetrated, because as soon as you turn even the slightest your alarm to try to angle or anything like that, you will get penetrated and there is nothing you can do to fight against it. Hopefully right now I have a good team and they only have 2 remaining tanks instead of 4 in my one. So yeah, we are gonna do the job and we are once again gonna get those 5k damage. And now you see that, I don't know, maybe you guys think that it's suitable. Maybe that you guys have the right tactic to fight against it. But personally, I did not play that tank too long. Maybe like 10 battles or something like that. Because nowadays I have so many things to do that I can't keep up with playing regularly the game. But hey, that's called growing up. You have to take up your responsibilities. But still, I don't know, like, a lot of people are still complaining about the tank, saying that it's a big box that doesn't have mobility, that can be easily circled. But to be honest, when you're giving it a chance, when you're giving it a go, it doesn't feel like a bad tank. That was one of the worst shots of my entire Blitz career. So yeah, we will wait. We will see how it goes with the 9.0 update and the new heavy, the Type 71, if I'm not mistaken, the Japanese one, that is the Tech 3. And we're gonna see if yes or no, this tank will reveal itself to be the main counter of the Object 268 version 4 or not. But waiting for it, let's say that to me, the meta tank right now is this tank. And hopefully, Wargaming did a right thing. I think that they did the right thing by not allowing you maybe to get chance, because at least it prevents a lot of people from getting it, even if it sucks because it's gonna favorize the pay-to-win players. But I think that here it was maybe the best thing to do. So hopefully you enjoyed, guys. If that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share. But most importantly, tell me what you think about this tank. Do you think that it's suitable or not into the game? I would be curious to know your opinion. And if you faced it, how did you manage to kill it? I'm gonna see you soon. Bye.